I want to know what past life energy or other life energy created this? Why does it feel so hard to soften and just like be with an open space? I'm so like hard on myself. Like this has to be done now. Podcast has to get going. Like all the creation, like I have to do it this way because that's the only way, blah, blah, blah. But then that creates force and it's just created a lot of like resistance.
The energy that's been like taken from that life into this life, I don't know how else to be. Like there's a desire, but it's almost like there's a luxury in that, like being able to do whatever you want and just like create and like not have to like do things a certain way. The image that's coming through is like a military warrior. So like very rigid and very militant. That was like your whole career, like your whole life. It was kind of felt like went through the family generations, almost like it was a family career. It feels like China and kind of like an old dynasty. There was like almost like a closing up of like your soul or your energy. This is deadening, kind of is the words that they're using, of like the inside. What they're showing me is like this person like ribbon dancing, and then there was just this natural like flowing of energy, and like it just like that's like the real version of them. I don't know.
My inner child is very much so like running through the flowers.
Hi, I'm Sam Franklin, intuitive, healer, and psychotherapist. In this podcast, you'll hear real-life sessions where I open the Akashic Records, connect with angels, offer energy healing, and guide my guests through deep soul transformation. Each session begins by opening the Akashic Records, or the energetic library of the soul, to receive clarity and guidance. Next, I set sacred intentions and invite loving support from the angels, spirit guides, ancestors, and all other spirits who are here for the highest good and healing. Throughout these sessions, I explore soul purpose, soul connections, and soul gifts. I also examine the deeper roots of challenges, including past life lessons and how they shape the present, to help my guests reconnect with their truth and step into the life they're meant for. Whether you're here out of curiosity or on your own healing journey, I invite you to listen with an open heart. You might just hear something your soul has been waiting for. Let's dive in. All right, so welcome in. Excited to
Thank
have you
you.
here,
Yeah.
and excited to explore your records and just like see what you want to get into. So where did you want to start?
Mhm. Yes. So I have like four areas of my life, I think, that I definitely want to focus on right now. And actually, when you were opening the records, a new kind of question kind of came forward. So I'm gonna trust spirit in guiding me that way, versus what I wrote down yesterday. Um, I'm in my intention for the new year was like feminine, like coming into divine feminine and creation, consume or create over consume. And I've been learning how to like soften because I feel like I am so tight and rigid sometimes. And I want to know what past life energy or other life energy created this, or is it this life? And then why does it feel so hard to soften and just like be with an open space? I live with some pretty dense energies, and so I fully closed off and tightened, and now I'm trying to like undo what occurred. And I would love to just know more about that.
Okay. So like past lives is like why kind of there tends to be closing up, like why that's hard
Yeah.
to soften. Okay.
hmm hmm
And then the other part of it was how you can soften more, or how that you can kind of ease into
Yeah.
that or have that.
hmm
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Let me just see where they want to take us here. And when I say they, I mean like angel spirit guides, kind of
I
in
got
general.
you.
If someone comes through, I'll let you know like specifically. But
Sounds good. Sounds good.
um okay, the image that's coming through is of like a military, like warrior.
Mm.
So like very rigid and very militant is like the words that they're using. And that was like it feels like very masculine, like man energy, and like that was like your whole career, like your whole life. It was kind of felt like a went through the family generations, almost like it was a family career. It feels like the images that they're using is looks like more like China and kind of like that military and kind
Mm-hmm.
of like an old dynasty like
Mm-hmm.
further back. And so that was just something that like you would have like a firstborn son, kind of like that would have been what you had to do, was be part of the military. And so there was a little bit of like obligation, like I don't get to choose and like I have to do this. And so like I have to squash my dreams, I have to like squash what I want to do because I just have to do these things. And like so there was like almost like a closing up of like your soul or your energy of like I just this is, and like a deadening kind of is the word that they're using of like the inside. How is that
Mm-hmm.
resonating?
I'm getting like major, I feel like a compartment in my heart just opened up and now tears are coming because that definitely resonates, especially like with all of my creations, for example. I'm so like hard on myself. Like this has to be done now. The podcast has to get going. Like all the creation, like I have to do it this way because that's the only way. Blah blah blah. And it's like that takes out the flow and the receptivity and like the allowance of spirit to like actually guide you because I think it's supposed to be this way, but then that creates force and it's just created a lot of like resistance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the energy that's been like taken from that life into this life, it's I don't know how else to be, as like that's like kind of the thought associated with that life kind of being brought into this life. Like there's a desire, but it's almost like there's a luxury in that, like being able to do whatever you want and just like create and like not have to like do things a certain way. And there's almost like a anger about that, like an energy of an envy to people that do that. And kind of like it
Totally.
feels like there's a judgment even around like it's like you envy people that like just kind of surrender and kind of flow with things and creative and like kind of be themselves and like don't have to do things in a certain way. But there's also like a judgment there at the same time, if that makes sense.
Totally, totally feel that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been also trying to release judgment. I feel like it's so strong in my field. And do they have any tips on how to release the judgment?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, well, if you want, we could spend some time kind of clearing this energy from the past and like cutting
that would be
cords
great.
if you'd want.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. Let me just see if there's anything else that we need to know about this past life before we kind of sever ties, if you will.
Hmm.
There is like a wanting to keep some of the structure, right? Like some of that, if we
Totally.
talk about like masculine and feminine energy, like it's nice to have a balance of both. So I think what we're going to do is maybe kind of like if you were to look at it on a continuum, um, this past life is like so masculine. And we want to kind of have the pendulum swing a little bit more. So we're like going to take like a little bit of that, like a flavor of that is what they're saying, and then just kind of like leave the rest. Like we don't need all of it because that's
Hmm.
not helpful. Let me see how they want to do this. Hmm. Okay, so it's interesting. I think what they want to do, and now just kind of witness how they're going to walk us through kind of clearing this energy, if you will. What I'm envisioning is that person in that life, like taking off all of the military gear, because that's really like
Hmm.
what has held all of that. So that's the mask,
Hmm.
that's the costume, if you will, that's like held all that energy.
Yep.
So just imagining kind of taking that off. It feels a little bit lighter, more like I can breathe. Um, but it feels exposed. So I'm
Hmm.
gonna see like how, because I think that's a little bit carrying over into this life of a fear of like feeling
Hmm.
really vulnerable and exposed if I don't have this armor, literally,
Hmm.
symbolically, of
Exactly. Yeah,
masculinity. Yeah.
exactly.
Um, hmm. What it's interesting. What they're showing me is like this person like ribbon dancing, as a way of like just like almost like they couldn't get out of their rigidity, and then there was just this natural like flowing of energy, and like it just Like that's like the real version of them. I don't know if that resonates
Mhm.
at all, that kind of like ribbon dancing.
Like like
Yeah.
with the yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cute. Oh, I mean, I'm definitely very much so that energy. Like my inner child is very much so like running through the flowers, the ribbon. That's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah.
It's beautiful how quickly it shifted too.
hmm And there's
Mhm.
such joy. So there's almost like this energy from that life had to believe or had to embody that like, oh, this is actually legit and like a good thing to be in this
Mhm.
more kind of free-spirited, free-flowing energy. It's like it didn't really believe that. So now that it's kind of held that belief, what I'm seeing is it's like handing over the armor to like the angels, if you will, and saying like, I don't really need this anymore. Like that served me. I learned a lot and I'm ready to let it go. Um, and I feel a lot more calm in my body. I see if there's any other things that need to be cleared. Yeah, it's interesting because normally I cut ties and cut cords, but this feels like this energy wants to kind of still stay present in your life, but in a new way. Almost like
Absolutely.
it kind of wants to hang around to see like how does this unfold? Like what's the life that I couldn't live then that like you get to live now? And so it's kind of like
Mhm.
a supportive energy.
Absolutely. And I feel that I've been learning the balance this year, and so
hmm
it feels like I've been going into extremes to learn how to like what the happy medium is.
hmm
And lately I have been just kind of going with flow. Like Spirit told me to do that 21 days of light language, and so I'm kicking with it and like just focusing on that. And that was one of the questions too. Like I feel like I have like all of these creations that I and like realms that I work in,
hmm
and I like do it all, but like that can be overwhelming, and it's like
hmm
where do I need to focus right now? Like where is the focus? That
Yeah.
is a very big question. Yeah.
Yeah. I think part of this also, and this kind of relates to what we were just talking about, is like what brings you passion and joy because of what you're the energy like as you're naming all these things, it just feels like it's such a mental energy of like, okay, here are all my tasks. Here's the things that I have to get done. What's like the top priority? What do I feel like my, like audience and viewers want to see? But it doesn't feel like very like heart led. It's starting to feel so much
Mhm.
more mental.
Yep.
And that feels kind of draining. And so when we talk
Yep.
about like how do I soften and surrender and flow, it really comes back to like what lights me up, where does my heart feel drawn towards? And that's a way to choose of like where to focus.
I love that. I love that. That's, I think, what the 21 days of light language definitely was. It's helping me to like break away some of that rigidity in, in the way that I am putting myself out there in a way that I never have. Like I'm being very, to me, what it feels like vulnerable,
hmm
and just like ripping that band-aid off kind of.
hmm
And it feels really good. But yeah, I with like Galactic Beings and Akashic Records readings and the meditations, it definitely, yeah, it feels all like what to do, what's gonna get views, but like I don't want to think about that. Like I just want to live.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is a hard balance of, you don't, it doesn't feel good when you put something out there into the void and then like nothing happens with it or no
Hmm.
one views it and kind of feels like you're like, who am I connecting with? Like we want to connect. Um,
Hmm.
what I'm hearing and sensing is that you're in a little bit of a transition. It doesn't feel like a huge transition, but a little bit of transition in terms of the content that you put out there, like where your intuitive kind of abilities are being drawn towards, and that there is a little bit of a it's not stuck point, but it's more of a fear of like what will people think kind of thing. But it's almost like maybe what needs to not needs to be done, but what you want to do. And the fear is kind of stopping you. And like, yeah, it might be slow at first. Like in some ways your audience might shift a little bit, but they're showing two different paths. Like, would you rather continue down a path that you like have been going down, but like doesn't light you up as much, like as you continue down that, but you have plenty of people that are interested in that? it's not like a bad thing. It's not like you hate it. It's just like there are things that I think feel like lights up your soul more, like in terms of longevity, but you don't quite have like a base of supporters, if you will, along that. So it's like a
Yeah.
choice point of, are you ready to
Hmm.
kind of transition or
Yeah.
not?
What are they showing you as that other timeline? Like, as far as content goes, because I still don't really feel like I know. Like, I'm kind of just like I'm doing the light language and learning new things and new energies are coming through.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I don't even really necessarily like know where to, yeah, like focus on.
Mm-hmm.
Because yes, I mean there is a lot, but like, yeah, like where is my intuition being guided? I guess that's a big question
Yeah.
as far as content. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because the image that you've ever seen those like headbands with like they have like balls. They're supposed to be like alien kind of
Yeah.
like things. Yeah, that's what they're showing me. So I feel like what they're saying is more like galactic stuff.
Yeah.
They're kind of saying like more of like the weird, what you might feel is like the weird content. But what they're also showing me is like um sometimes when like podcasters or just creators, influencers go on like some type of tour and it's like say that was your thing, like you had a headband with that, it's like the entire audience is also wearing that, meaning like other people are like super on board with this and like love this. So it's just like finding those people. You kind of have to like let
Mhm.
your weirdness, if you will, shine.
Yeah. I feel like that's what the light language is. Like I feel um I didn't realize how many TikTokers were into light language activations, but I have gained like a decent amount of followers so far, and that's not the reason at all as to why I do it. I'm doing it because it's spirit led. It feels good. Like I love doing light language. But it does feel interesting. I'm like, oh, I think I've found the people that are like into this. Like I'm getting comments about like blue avians and like
Mhm.
aliens, and I'm like, heck yeah. I definitely do feel the call there. I guess it's like, what's the first step? And I guess maybe it is the light language. And I guess here's a question. Do I keep going with the podcast?
There could be, okay, they're showing like a lot of different paths, so let me see if they can like break down what are the different options here.
Yeah.
One is it goes exactly the same, which is fine, but it's like they're bringing in, I'm not like up to date on a lot of Gen Z language, but they're using the word mid, like it's just fine.
LOL.
Yeah. Um, like it's great and it's like good content and like you like it, but it doesn't maximize your skill set, your
Mm,
abilities, like where you could go with it. Different
mhm,
options. They're also showing it could be a mix of like any of these things. Like it doesn't have to be, again, getting out of your kind of maybe rigidity mindset of like it has to be
mhm,
one way or this way. It could be a mix of different types of episodes. So other
mhm,
options would be you channeling different messages from galactic beings,
mhm,
different kind of energies that you've connected into, information that you've gotten in terms of maybe ancient wisdom or other wisdom that you want to share. Um, it's interesting. I don't know if you've ever like actually embodied in like an energy and really channeled as that being.
So I was told after like I feel like I had a spiritual awakening, cosmic awakening.
Mm-hmm.
During the cosmic awakening, I was told that I was going to be like a very like from the ether, a powerful like trance channeler, and like I was going to be trance channeling these like ancient, like very old beings. And and then it kind of like I the galactic stuff started happening and everything. But yeah, I haven't necessarily, I totally feel like that energy split has been occurring because I've been playing it safe, and even my partner is like, I miss your galactic videos. Like, I love the podcast and all, but like, I miss you talking about aliens. Like, that was the cool stuff. And I'm so happy to be with someone like that. But like, yeah, that takes a lot of focus. And I have been talking to people lately who are really into that on the podcast, and that's really awesome. But like, I've completely neglected my channel. But yes, I feel like And they're probably going to be like, she's totally done it before. But like, I feel like I've done it before. But I'm honestly not quite sure yet. I'm not quite sure. But
Mhm.
yes, I definitely, there have been signs and signals and messages about that. I guess I'm just not sure how to get to that point of allowing like that full trance channel. Like I'm a very strong channel and like even during my Akashic Records readings, I'm just like spitting out information.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, what could you ask like what will it feel like to me and ha yeah, have I done it? Maybe a confirmation would be cool.
Part of it is how you show up. Like when you're like, for example, maybe you experience this when Akashic Record readings, I know I do, where like they use write certain words.
Mm,
If you've ever, I don't know if you ever like channel or connect with loved ones who have crossed over, any of that.
hmm
Sometimes like the way, and I've gotten this feedback from people, the way my body language might show up, or the way my
Heard. Yeah.
voice is, like even though it sounds like me, they're like, you kind of sound like that
Yes.
person. So like that's kind of a similar,
Yes.
it would just be amplified where you're like, I sound like someone else and I feel like my movements are like someone else. That's kind of what it would be like to do that.
And they're showing me a message of, again, the light language because I don't know if you've heard any of it. But yeah, it's different voices like each time, depending on what energy I'm connecting with. And I feel like that is the gateway to experiencing that. And I've actually, after the little videos, if an energy comes through, I've done this twice now where I sit with the energy further and film like a quick YouTube video channeling that energy. And I have felt like rocking, like more intense than normal. Like I do feel energy in my body rock, but like more intense. So yeah, I feel like I'm getting to that point. So that's a good, okay, I'll focus on that.
Yeah. And then, you're welcome to kind of, I'm hearing like ask like a name of whatever being is coming through. It feels like more of, it's good to have like a private meeting first. Basically, like you're channeling by
Mhm.
yourself, you're kind of
Yes,
like, what's the name that you want to be called, like all this stuff. And then there's
totally.
almost like an agreement, almost like going on the podcast together. Like you might, meet someone, get to know them a little bit, and then you're like, do you want to do this publicly? And then you can kind of decide between you and that being like what would be the best platform or how you want to best like
Mhm.
share whatever needs to be shared.
Totally. I like that. A discovery call with the ancient aliens. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
Okay,
could
cool, cool, cool.
definitely go that way with your podcast of more channeling stuff, sharing
Mm,
information, and having more guests like related to that
hmm
channel together. Even like, and this could be like podcasts or just YouTube videos is also what I'm seeing of like how to do that. Like once you start to learn how to do these things, like you could be someone that could be a teacher of it if you want.
Oh, and I've gotten that too so many times. Yeah, like, and it's so interesting because like I grew up wanting to be a teacher, and
Mm-hmm.
then I moved to film, which is
Mm-hmm.
still in my life. Like it just all builds on each other. It's beautiful
Mm-hmm.
in that way.
Yeah.
Cool. Um, okay, let me see if there was anything else there.
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask like how can I best connect with them? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that would be good.
How these like galactic beings and
Yeah.
shows and
hmm
stuff. Let me see.
Yeah.
Getting like a few different things. Let me see. Sometimes like there's just like so much happening at once, it gets jumbled. So I just need them to slow it down a little bit and
Yeah,
give me
absolutely.
one thing at a time. They keep showing the same image over and over, which is someone writing down an intention before going to bed. So if
Mm.
there's like maybe a being that you want to meet, or even like the intention is more like information that you want to learn or places you want to visit, this idea of like when we potentially astral travel during our
Mhm.
dreams, that there's a way to connect there consciously, like when you're awake. a lot of it is going into a meditative state, but it's always about the intention. So it's like whatever
Mhm.
intention you set in terms of how you want to
Absolutely.
connect, who you want to connect with, what you want to learn. That's the biggest thing. And then it's almost like they're showing, it's hard to explain the image. You ever seen the movie, is it Soul, that cartoon?
No, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like there's these different souls, and then they kind of like choose like the lives and
Mm.
stuff, and they're kind of looking at
Hmm.
these different things. It's just almost like that image in a way of like there's all these beings, and then it's like you set an intention, and then they're like, your turn, you go now. And then they go and
Totally.
they like you connect, and then it's like, okay, now your turn. That's what I'm seeing.
Absolutely. Um, I feel like, and this just came through to ask about, which I'm so glad because I didn't even think about this. I feel like there is this fear that maybe occurred when I first opened the whole alien channel.
Mhm.
The fear of abduction, first of
Mhm.
all, which I know might sound crazy, but I think I accidentally just listened to maybe one too many abduction stories and I'm a little freaked out.
Mhm.
But also I had an incident, a run-in with a very large entity while I was traveling for 3 months.
Mhm.
And after that run-in, my third eye, I was like heartbroken because I think what had happened, and it was so divine because like so many things happened from that. But I feel like it's still not fully where it could be. And I feel as though I'm almost like scared to see them or to see certain things. Like when I'm giving readings, I can get pretty good knowledge. And the closing of this definitely helped me get better at feeling and knowing. And I'm very grateful for that. And I do feel it was aligned for that reason. However, I would love to tap more into this so I could bring clarity to what it is I'm channeling and seeing. And then two, yeah, do I need to be scared about abduction? Probably not. But like I would love to release and clear maybe the fear that has caused, yeah, these feelings.
Mhm. What I'm hearing is like in this like almost alien. I don't know if this is from a movie or something, but I'm just hearing like we come in peace. Like that's just what I'm hearing. So this idea is like if we
Incredible.
show up and we potentially abduct you, whatever, like it would be for a positive reason.
Okay, heard. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Got it. Got it.
Um,
I
but
see the little alien dudes from Toy Story.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
these
that's what it was. The
younger
image was, yeah. Okay, was that where it's from?
Potentially, potentially. I
But
feel
that
like
was
it's
also
like
the
we
image.
come in peace. Yeah.
Yeah, seeing all of the little guys.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So that idea that, and also like, they're bringing in humor to be like we're not something to be scared about, like,
Totally.
but also they're honoring that in our human form and our human life and like the fact that we struggle with remembering all of the past and like spiritual
Mhm.
stuff when we come here, that it is jarring and scary to like see something new, experience something new. And that's where I see like the closing of the third eye of like
Mhm.
there's two parts of you, one part that's like I want to see and the other part's like absolutely not. And they're
Literally,
fighting
literally.
each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there a way I can release that?
Yeah, let me see. Well, one they're saying is like if you're watching anything that's like not actually based in, I want to say reality, but it's like fictionalized alien stuff, they're like stop watching that because it's probably freaking you out.
Oh, interesting.
Or um
I
glorified, like whether it's like horror films or dramas or just movies where they're like that's not how we are. They're like
mhm.
it's almost like creating a script in your mind, and that script is growing louder,
Mhm.
and it's also blocking out the ability to truly see them. Almost like we think aliens are a certain way because we've seen all these things depicted. And then
Mhm.
it just like we really struggle with staying open to the actual experience.
New.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I would say like a few years ago, I watched a lot more conspiracy stuff, the
Mhm.
very 4D stuff.
Mhm.
I don't do that much anymore. But I will say I do look up pictures of certain star races, and I'm wondering if that is what they are like talking about, where it's like you're creating a prejudgment before you meet a Lyran being or a Syrian being, because you're going to Google rather than here.
Yeah. And it's a mixed bag because in some ways that specifically looking up pictures seems to help calm you. And so in some way that helps open it up. So that's a positive. But it is like you have to be open to the fact that it might not look exactly like that for you and to not be startled if it doesn't look exactly like that or to not doubt yourself. Like that could be a possibility. So it's a pros and cons. What they're showing me is more like movies, that you might watch that has a lot of like fear based in it that
Mhm.
you might just like stay away from that for a little bit so it doesn't amplify the fear.
Got it. That makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Let me see how you can kind of grow the part of you that maybe is more excited or wants to
Yeah.
know them. Almost like a manifestation practice. So like
Mm.
why do you want to connect with them? Why is it important? What are you hoping to get out of? How do you want to feel? And then almost do like a visualization of, you know, where you would be or who you would be or how it would feel to connect in a way that's like, oh, this is exciting, or I feel seen, or this is just super cool. And to create that kind of uh track in your mind, if you will.
Mhm. That makes a lot of sense, actually. Even like creating a meeting space in my mind's eye where it can occur
Mm-hmm.
at first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or something that just came up is someone that I know that's like also starting to channel a couple beings. She learned how to do it where she goes to a certain place. And you could do this where you create some type of place in your mind, like a safe space or
Mhm.
a spiritual space, and it can look however you want in your mind. And like that's where you always go to meet them. And like first do the work of you just go to that space in your mind and like really connect it to feeling calm and centered and grounded.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Any other questions or things you want to explore before we
yeah.
wrap up?
Moving away from the kind of channeling, bringing it to like very real life. Um, my partner and I have been going through it. And I would love to know why I keep attracting reactive people as in the dating realm. And I do understand, and I have seen the reflections. I definitely used to be extremely reactive, and so I thought I understood like the past relationships where it's happened, and it's definitely like decreased in intensity
Yeah.
the more people. But this particular person feels like the life partner, like definitely like kiddos. We've already had them come through, like definitely here. But there's still this like jealousy from them, these like insecurities, like just about having like guy friends. And it's not big, but like it is present.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like very present in my other relationships, and it seems like I keep attracting the same kind of person, but
Mm-hmm.
again, less intense. And very reactive, yes, very like kind of jealous. And to me right now in my life, like I don't feel as though I'm like that, and I would love to know like how can I break this pattern?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like so sick of it. I'm
Yeah.
so ready to be done.
Mm-hmm. Um, yeah, hear that. I think that's a very common thing for people, especially like just patterns that keep going on. Like we get tired of them.
Hmm.
Uh, a couple of things came up. One, and I don't really know, much about your childhood in terms of like dating or belonging. But there feels like, I don't know if this is true, that there might have been like just not feeling attractive or like wanted by
Oh,
other
all the
people in the
time.
dating world. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, that then paired with someone gets jealous or shows a big reaction, it's like I know that they care. I know that they love me, because if they didn't have that reaction,
Mhm.
then I worry like maybe they don't really care and it's like they're too neutral. So there's something that feels like a reassurance in some way out of getting out of that.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Huh. Okay.
And that might be a
Yeah.
little more outdated at this point.
Yes.
Um, like that might have been really more of an intense thing that like you experienced in the past, but it's like there's still remnants is kind of what I'm hearing about that.
Mhm.
And I imagine you've changed while you've been in this relationship. Mhm.
Yes.
So you have to remember the version of you that started, like when you two started out, that's the version of you that attracted that version of him. And so even though you've evolved, I mean, we can't always like, you might attract a different type of person now, but because you've decided to continue this relationship, you're still kind of dealing with these patterns. And it might be helpful to look for both of you of like, he probably has patterns of how you were, and that you might be similar to maybe past partners, and why the two of you had brought patterns together,
Mhm.
why you tended to be drawn towards each other. We tend to pick partners that have qualities of our parents, like positive and negative.
Yeah. Ooh. Ooh, I'll have to look at I know the positive yeah, reflectiveness of like me and his mom specifically. But I will definitely need to do a deep dive into the like more negative because that's very interesting. I feel like she sometimes definitely like just like nods her head and is like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. And then when it's not, it's like
Yeah.
yeah, which
Yeah.
I
So
can relate to sometimes. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sure,
yeah,
sure.
that's what I mean, we consciously choose partners that have the positive qualities of our caregivers, and we unconsciously choose like the negative, impactful
Mhm.
qualities of our caregivers. This is something that I got, and I forget who the therapist was. It was like a recorded training I listened to a long time ago, like 10 years or so ago. But I love this exercise where it's you take your caregivers, however many you had, and you write down 3 to 5 positive traits per each. The things that you really admired about them. Maybe they were hardworking, maybe they were nurturing, whatever. Then you also write that like the top 3 to 5 negative things that are really impactful, like they were critical or they were emotionally unavailable, whatever it is.
Mhm.
And then out of all your caregivers' positive qualities, you lump them all together out of all of them, and then you choose the top 3 that were the most impactful. And then you do that with the negative. So if you had a mom and a dad, you would take like all of their positive stuff that you listed for both of them, choose the top 3 total.
Mhm.
And then the same thing for the negative. Those are probably the partners that you tend to pursue. And then it
I've
would be interested to do kind of for both of you what that would look like.
yeah, I've never looked at that before, and it totally makes sense as
Mhm.
to like my mom. I have a lot of mom wounds that are being healed.
Mhm.
However, yeah, the partners that I've attracted for sure. Like I've never actually related that. That's a wild. Like how.
Yeah.
Um,
And then take it one step further and think about when I was a kid, what did I do when I was hurt, upset, dysregulated? Did I go to my room and isolate? Did I have a big reaction? What did I do? And then am I doing that now as an adult? Is there an adult version of that? Because the idea is like we can heal ourselves, and in these relationships, they're going to be the most triggering relationships, but it has the most opportunity for healing. So then the two of you can figure out, okay, let's map out our pattern. When you do this, I do this. And when I do this, you do this. Where do we disrupt the pattern so we do something different? Um, so the dance basically looks different. And then that's how we can start to shift the pattern for both of us. And what do I need to do to be able to continue to regulate and like shift the pattern for myself?
yes. Yes. I love that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I definitely would go and like sit in my room alone or like lock myself away when I was younger. Definitely still like when conflict arises, I just like
Mhm.
totally like, nope.
Mhm.
So that is interesting, but definitely getting better at it. Um, I guess with all of this, kind of like I feel like we're asking each other to rise in certain points, and this might sound selfish, but this is what it feels like. It feels like he has a lot of rising to do, in order to like frequency match. And I just like, will we get there? Or should I, like, is this person, am I supposed to stay? Because I think I have had doubts, but then like when I think about that reality, it just doesn't resonate.
Mhm.
But I guess just validation from the records.
Mhm. Um, I see that kind of your role, it's important for you to just keep working on yourself. Um, I'm hearing like stop micromanaging. Like if there's anything that you might be doing of him, like to allow him his process.
Hmm.
Because if you want him to really meet you where you're at and like match, energetically and kind of where you're at in your healing process, he has to do it. And if you keep
Yeah,
trying to make it happen, it'll kind of work against itself.
totally.
And it's almost like you have to be okay with like whoever you end up being. That's kind of what I tell a lot of my clients, that you'll know when the time is that the relationship no longer makes sense if it ever gets to that
Totally.
point. You'll actually
Yeah,
be more in a better place to walk away, because it'll just the disconnect the disconnect will be so, it'll be too
grand.
intense. You'll
Yeah,
feel that. Not that it won't be painful. So kind of continue on your path. And this is where you have to surrender basically and trust that,
yeah,
like, if I invite my partner along and they're willing to do the work, and if I let them do the work and be there to support them, they're either gonna meet me or they won't. And then I will know. So it really feels like more of a choice between the two of you, that it really
hmm,
isn't like there's not a certain answer. It's
hmm.
this is where like our free will comes into play.
That makes sense. That makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. It's so funny because when I give readings, I'm like, oh, there's another relationship question. Oh, there's another work question. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
finances. Like it's like the same patterns. And then here
Mm-hmm.
I am like asking similar things.
Yeah,
And it's so funny. It's so funny.
but these are the things that we want to know. These are the areas of our lives that
Exactly.
we spend a lot of time in and really value
Hmm.
and impact us.
Absolutely.
So of course.
Yeah, yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then last thing I think, um, my current so we're gonna be moving soon.
Mm-hmm.
And he's applied to some different situations that are out of state. And so it's like okay, like it feels like one foot in, one foot out. And if we secure a place here, then the foot is here, but it still feels like a foot is elsewhere. And
Mm-hmm.
I've felt like that for a long time, and I understand and take responsibility that that might be my own doing of just like wanting to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Or, but anyways, yeah, I have been really trying to trust in the location appearing and coming for us. But with the new, I also am looking for other job opportunities, and I just wanted to see and leave it open-ended, like if there were any highest and best messages regarding these two things.
Mm-hmm. Regarding of where to live or where you might be pulled towards.
Yeah, where to live, here or somewhere else. And then like new job, should I stay? Should I be looking for other things? If so, again, like not sure what I would do in like the human world.
Yeah.
Like I am comfortable where I'm at right now, but I also know that like I feel like I have more potential.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
just curious if they have anything to say about the transitions.
Something for you to consider, they want you to consider is with where you're currently at and your work and all of that, where is the room to grow? Like where's the ceiling where you can't grow anymore?
Hmm.
Because that will kind of help you decide if you need to take a different job or move somewhere else. Because if you feel like there's still room to grow and I feel like there's still plenty there to do and that feels great, then that gives you an option to stay. If what I'm hearing is if you feel like I'm comfortable, but there's not much more growing or change that can happen
Yeah,
here, that might
that
be
makes
more of
sense.
a push to move somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you see about like location. They're just like they're bringing up Twilight and kind of that type of town of like rainy and like overcast. Do you like that weather?
Not necessarily.
Yeah, that's why
Not
I asked.
necessarily.
I was like, I feel like I don't know if that fits.
Well, it's rainy and overcast here.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's what they were getting at. Because it has been really rainy and overcast here. It's been
Mhm.
a super rainy spring.
Mhm. It feels like the word tropical. I'm just seeing like a lot of plants. Like that
Hmm.
feels like really good. Almost like rainforesty kind of vibes. Like I don't know if that's exactly the thing or like literally, but like that's
The
what's
energy.
coming through.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe not as like gloomy as like, Washington or
Yeah.
Wyoming kind of area, but yeah, very tropical, a little bit kind of a wet atmosphere, but like a lot of plants. It just feels like good to the soul is the phrase that they're using.
Hmm. That makes sense. That makes
Hmm.
sense. Um, I appreciate how how spirit talks through you of like, yes, there are some definite answers, but it's more like open-ended because we're here to help other people's intuition, not to just tell them what's up. So I
Hmm.
appreciate that and I honor that within you. I really love that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm always cautious. Sometimes they'll give me really concrete stuff and I consider if I want to like share that or not. Um,
Hmm.
but I really like, yeah, giving people the choice, like knowing their options and what can happen if you choose different options. Like if you stay or if you go, both feel really valid. You know, um, staying feels great. There feels like a great support system. Going feels like more an adventure. Like it's more uncertain. It's going to stretch you, and you might have to build a new support system, but it also could lead to a lot of opportunities. So they just feel different.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And that's what has been coming through. But I definitely have grown a community here, especially with the spiritual stuff. So yeah, I'll just go where spirit guides me. And right now yeah. They said wet and rainy, so I'm gonna take that as a stay put.
Yeah. Or there's other places there that could
Or
also be wet and rainy.
that's so true. That's so true.
And reminding you that you can take your community with you online in a lot of ways these
So
days.
true.
Mhm.
So true. Yeah. Yeah. Very connected. And I
Yeah.
love that.
I'm just gonna see if there's any last messages here before we wrap things up. Nope, they feel like that's pretty good. So yeah, appreciate you coming on and asking questions and being open and vulnerable. It's been fun.
Absolutely. Same. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. If this conversation spoke to your soul, go ahead and like it, share it with someone you love, and subscribe to stay connected to more soul led journeys. Your truth is sacred, your path matters, and you don't have to walk it alone. Until next time, be gentle with yourself.